welcome back to the CNC3 early morning program. Of course, it's the Spotlight segment, and if you're just joining us, cricket takes our focus this morning. Colin Ball is on set with me, former manager of the Trinidad and Tobago cricket team, and of course, avid cricket fan and former player as well, and administrator. He's now in the capacity of West Indies 18 manager, and of course we are going to deal with the West Indies at a different level, the senior level. Of course, the current team are in Sri Lanka for the T20 World Cup, where we are labelled as favourites, and you'll see on the caption bar in a short while this morning. The question this morning is, are we really favourites? Let's turn right over to Colin. Are we favourites to win this tournament?
We're one of the favourites. Certainly, we've got a team that has a lot of depth, a lot of experience. We've got some younger players in there. I think we have a very balanced team. It's difficult to say we are the favourites. I think we are one of maybe 2 or 3 favourites. But certainly we can win the tournament if we play to our best ability.
Of course, as you mentioned, the composition of this team, as well as you alluded to, is very strong. Some of the world's best T20 players, most renowned players, as well as those younger ones coming in, looking to make a name for themselves. Just tell us a bit about that balance that you speak of.
Well, we have at the top, let's start probably with batting order alone. We have some seriously huge power hitters. We have Chris Gayle. I think he's hit 296s in his 110 T20s. That's the most by any cricketer. He's had a superb run in the past 2 years in this format of the game. Dwayne Smith opening with him, another big hitter. Not as consistent, and it's a strange thing to say, but not as consistent as Chris Gayle, but on his day can get off, he can bat 3 field, He's an all-rounder. Gayle also could be considered an all-rounder. You have Dwayne Bravo, Kyron Pollard, Russell. We have a powerful batting lineup as far down as maybe 10 or 11. Even Sunil Narine with the bat. As regards bowling attack, we have Sunil Narine, who has obviously established himself. We have Samuel Badru, who's probably the most economical bowler in T20 cricket around the world in the last 6 years. He's finally gotten an opportunity with the West Indies. We've got some fast bowling prowess in Ravi Rampal, Fidel Edwards. We've got the seamers between Sami. And it's only 20 overs. It's not 120 overs. It's 120 balls. I think we are covered there. We have guys that can bat through an innings. We have guys who can explode at the back end of an innings without much warming up. We get in and do the job. And so I think we have a balanced team, and we've got an experienced team who's played on a subcontinent, and that's important.
Of course, you mentioned earlier the opening partnership, which of course will be crucial to get that foundation set. We were looking at 80+ runs from the top 2. You mentioned Gayle, who's an obvious choice as number 1, and Smith. But in the past, we've seen them experimenting, giving Lendell Simmons that opportunity. Johnson Charles has also had that opportunity. What do you, particularly tomorrow, and when we face Australia, how do you see that playing out?
I don't know what is in the camp at the moment. Sometimes, there's a call in the camp based on the current form there and the psychological balance at the time of a player. That's something that happens really internally. Certainly, Dwayne Smith will probably get the nod ahead. You never know. But the good thing is that we have options in Lendell Simmons. We have options in Johnson Charles. So I think we have enough firepower all around. Key for me would be that the team itself is gelling well and they focus well. It's T20 cricket, as I said before, it's a 100-meter dash, but there are phases that you've got to go through in a game to finish the game. Now we were thinking about winning the match, and now the process by winning is where we're going to get into trouble.
Of course. You mentioned us as one of the favourites. Of course, we take on Australia tomorrow, former world beaters at this game. Are they in that part as favourites?
If you're going to go the top 4, I would say the top 4 would be Sri Lanka, West Indies, India, and South Africa. Those would be 4 that I would go with, obviously.
And not even the defending champions?
Not even the defending champions, England. I don't believe that the English will fare well in Sri Lanka. Maybe they did well in the Caribbean, but certainly that was quite some number of years ago. A defending champion is a defending champion. Very rarely you see defending champions repeat. I think South Africa is a very powerful team, and Sri Lanka being the home team, it's going to be very difficult to beat.
Now, of course, tomorrow we take on Australia, and their opening partnership, they have relied on heavily in the past, in Shane Watson and, of course, David Warner, who, of course, destroyed Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean, in the Champions League. How important would it be to get those 2 out, and what strategy should we use? Do we use the slower bowlers up top, or do we, put the ball onto their bats?
It's going to look, obviously, there's Australians who would want the ball coming onto the bat. I'm not quite sure what Coach Otis Gibson will be doing up there. Certainly, the people are going to call for 2 spinners in the lineup, as opposed to maybe 1. But in Sri Lanka, the wickets are playing a lot quicker now than expected in Sri Lanka, being a subcontinent. They're going to look at the wicket, will pretty much determine how they're going to approach the game. I'd like to see Samuel Badri get a game. Certainly, I believe that whilst he doesn't turn the ball prodigiously, I think he gives you some food for thought. I think he struggles a little bit against the left-handed batsman, but he's done extremely well over the past 5 or 6 years. That remains to be seen.
Of course, now we take on Australia, the other team in our group. Zimbabwe have Ireland have already been beaten by Australia. It means that we have to win against Australia or Ireland to safely move through to the Super 8s. Of course, what situation does that put us in tomorrow?
It's a must-win situation. T20 cricket requires you've got to win. You want to get off to a good start. It's certainly important for you to win and open your tournament on the run. You've got to hit the ground running. Ireland, I don't see as being posing much of a threat. You want to win a championship, you've got to beat all before you. So you're not going to say, well, today, maybe if we lose against Australia, we still have an opportunity. You play for what is in front of you. As I said before, winning a tournament requires particular steps. You can't jump from step 1 to step 3. You've got to go through the phase, and that's the important key trying to win a tournament. Go through the process and not think about the end result. If you do the process correct, more than likely the end result will occur.
Now, of course, looking forward to the Super 8s, you may not want to make predictions, but of course, depending on how we finish in this Group B, first or second, we can meet either or. It looks so far to be either New Zealand or Pakistan from Group D, England or India from Group A, Sri Lanka or South Africa, who are pretty much cemented their places already.
I'd like to come through. You want to win the group. At the end of the day, I'd prefer to meet New Zealand and Pakistan. Certainly, we've just beaten New Zealand. We've beaten them comprehensively, pretty much in all formats of the game. They're playing good cricket at the moment, but it's World Cup. I would not like to meet Pakistan right away. Pakistan is a very volatile team, and as I said earlier today, on their day they can beat anybody and comprehensively so. But if it's not their day, you can bowl Pakistan up at 25. So. It's not a team that I would like to meet. I'd prefer to meet the opponent that I figure if I play steady cricket, we can overcome them, and that would be New Zealand for me.
Of course. And
on the other end, India or England, I'll go with England.
England.
Yeah, I'll play against England. I think we can take on England. Yes, we have not had a good run in the last series in England, but that was in England, and that was very early in May. I'd prefer to play England up front and play India, particularly right in their backyard.
When you look at the England situation, of course, a lot of turmoil in their team. Is it best to play them now as well in that regard?
I think it's a World Cup, and what happens? Yes, KP is missing and so on, and there are issues behind the scenes, but it's cricket, and these guys have the knack over any professional career. There are always issues. Certainly, you start learning that once you cross the white line and the lights go on, you focus at that time. I don't think any player is thinking about the issues about keeping, maybe before it can affect it. But these guys are professionals. They're going to want to prove, and particularly the players replacing KP and Strauss are going to want to come in there and prove a point. So I don't see there's too much of an issue. More importantly, I prefer to play them because we're both playing on foreign soil, as opposed to playing somebody who's playing on the subcontinent and having that home advantage.
Now, of course, one more item we should not leave out, of course, is the bowling. You touched on it a bit, but of course, Sunil Narayan is a target now.
Yes.
He's no longer fair. People want to come after him to, knock him off of his game. How do you expect him to stand up to that?
Sunil is a cool customer. That's the game that he will play, particularly in T20 cricket where you want to come after him, but you're running out of balls. It means that he bowls at the right pace so that he doesn't give you the opportunity to come at him, so he pins you down, plus he has a variety of balls. So people coming at Sunil Narayan will be perfectly right up his alley. He's, as I said before, very cool customer. He handles pressure extremely well, and of great importance is that he handles disappointment well. I've seen him go through many things, and he's always been level-headed, and I'm seeing him still making a huge impact on this tour.
Of course, the West Indies may want to bat deep using as many all-rounders as possible. It leaves a possible toss-up between Fidel Edwards and Ravi Rampal. Who would you go with?
Which cap are we wearing? West Indies cap or the Trinidad cap? No, certainly, I don't know what is happening over there in terms of the actual preparation. They may want to go for the extra pace because we have a couple just seamers of the same ilk. They probably would want to go with Fidel up very early and see how he plays it because it's Australia. I suggest Fidel probably Ravi. I don't know. I wish I could tell. I'd go with Fidel in the first game.
Okay, of course. Colin, we just have about a minute or so left to wrap. You know, your final thoughts on whether it be Trinidad and Tobago or even the West Indies in the next couple of days?
Importantly, I think the West Indies have to play cricket, hard cricket, intelligent cricket. Yes, it's 20 overs. You've got to play intelligent cricket. I'll repeat again, you've got to go through the process. You have targets set, maybe the first 5 overs, 10 overs, 15, 20, and that's how you're going to play it in quarters. You've got to be at a particular place at a particular time. It's about not panicking. If you lose 2 wickets early, you still have a depth. If you're bowling on the other end, it's not about only taking wickets, just being consistent and being supported in the outfield. If you play sensible cricket, which I know we can go all the way.
Okay, beautiful. The words there of Colin Board, who is in his capacity as West Indies A-team manager. He's also the Trinidad and Tobago former cricket manager. And those are his thoughts and comments on the West Indies and Trinidad and Tobago as it relates to T20 cricket, which will be heavily played in the next coming weeks. Of course, on behalf of him and Ramki Soon and all here at CNC3, I'd like to implore you to have a great weekend and a great day. And thank you for staying with our early morning show.